Hey, how are you today? This is Josh Patrick, and you're at Cracking the Cash Flow Code. And today, my guest is Josh York, another Josh. I ought to talk about that for a while, but maybe I won't. And Josh is the founder of Gymguyz.com. He is the largest gym personal trainer franchise in the world. That's a big deal. And I'm assuming there's more than one franchises in the world. We'll find out about that. And he started his business basically with no money, with $15,000, which I think is pretty amazing. You can start and bootstrap and get yourself to be successful. And we're going to find out what he did and ask some questions along the way. So let's bring Josh on. Hey, Josh, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic, Josh. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
You know, when I was growing up, I was your age. The only other Joshes I ever saw were dogs. So there's now
Got
like
it.
9 zillion Joshes who are 30 or 40 years younger than me.
Mhm.
But at any rate, you started with $15,000. What was the first thing you did when you started your business?
Market, right? You got to make money. You got to get out there, just make a lot of noise, get out there. And that's literally what I did 24/7, pretty much 365. I'd say 27, not 24/7, but literally 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for months, for years. I just kept doing the same things over and over and over again. Just kept marketing myself, getting myself out there. And that's really, everyone looks for this secret sauce, a secret key, or some secret tunnel to success. There's no secret to it. It's called work. You got to work. You got to be consistent. You got to have discipline. You got to do it over and over and over and over again. And that comes with obviously failure and issues and mistakes and everything else along the line.
So, what did you specifically do when you first started out? I mean, you were out there working 20 hours a day, but how were you filling those 20 hours up?
Yeah, so when I started this, and what we do is we're not a gym, so we have no brick and mortar. We bring the workout to you. So everything comes to your home office, pool, park, place of worship, hospitals, senior homes, assisted living facilities. We literally come with our van stocked with all the necessary equipment to provide you a fantastic workout 365 days a year, backed by our 3 C's, and that's convenient, customized, and creative workouts. And we're really disrupting the fitness industry. So in the early days, look, I did whatever I had to do to get clients. What does my day look like? I was up every day around 3:30 in the morning. I'd start out by building relationships, going to local businesses, whether I'm picking up a bottle of water or an egg sandwich or whatever it may be, just to show my face and start building relationships. As I always say, you have to OTC, own the community. And I used to literally, I had documents I kept of different businesses, and I would literally rotate them up 7 days a week. And different, there was a method to it that I created, and just keep showing my face. Next thing you know, these people, started knowing who I was and what I did. And next thing you know, I started leaving some business cards there and some postcards there. And then I'm setting up tables outside the store. And next thing you know, I started getting clients and more clients and more clients. And today we have hundreds of thousands of clients spread out all over the world, in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and soon in our next country, which will be the UAE. So very exciting stuff.
Cool, cool. So, when, when you were getting your own clients, first of all, can I ask where you live? Where are you located?
I live in New York, Long Island, New York, Plainview.
Okay, so you have a pretty good population base to work off down there.
Yes.
So, how long did it take you before you started making a living?
Making a living?
Yeah, not a great living, just making a living.
Uh, 10 years.
Okay, so I assume that. So, how did you live for the first 10 years? Out of curiosity, I mean, this is something that you start with $15,000. That won't last you 10 years, that's for sure.
I had just enough money just to, pay some rent in a small apartment, which I really honestly was never even there. And just a lot of pain. That's pretty much how I'll sum it up. A lot of pain. Um, everyone wants greatness, but people don't understand, what's required to achieve greatness. It's, see, a very important part of winning is different, right? You have to be different if you want to win. People don't like different. People don't like to be uncomfortable. People don't like to put themselves in scenarios that are not comfortable.
Now, when you say people, are you talking business owners or customers?
I'm talking anybody. I'm talking anyone who wants to try to achieve success. I'm not just talking business. I'm talking fitness. I'm talking, your hygiene. I'm talking anything in general. If you want success in whatever, you want to achieve success in, there has to be a requirement of, moments of uncomfortable living.
So it sounds like your belief system is it has to be hard for you to have success.
I wouldn't say that's my belief system, but to some degree, yes. Some people do get just lucky, right? And but no one has achieved success without pain. No one. There's not a person out there. There's just there's no way. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. You have to be willing to fail, because that's WTF. Willing to fail. If you don't incorporate that into your equation of what it takes to be successful, you're not going to be successful, because you're going to be dodging bullets all the time. You're going to be putting out fires all the time. You're going to have challenges all day, every day. That's business. Expect the unexpected.
Okay, well, that's all great. So how would you recommend, you've got a bunch of franchises, and we'll talk about your franchise business in a minute, but you got a bunch of franchises out there and life gets hard for them. So how do you help them get through those hard times, or what do you expect them to do so when they do make a mistake and they fall on their face, they're willing to get back up again?
Yeah, well, that's a mindset, right? I believe, business and life is 80% mindset, 20% tactical. You have to develop a mindset. We have obviously training that we put everyone through, and ongoing training that we put people through. But just because you come in to be a franchisee doesn't mean you're going to be successful. People get into Harvard University doesn't mean you're going to graduate. You got to put the success in, the work in to achieve the success.
Let me just stop you there for a second. I will tell you the Federal Trade Commission is going to be very unhappy with your franchise if you have a bunch of franchisees who are unsuccessful.
Oh, of course, absolutely. But McDonald's has locations that fail. And
they have
every
a few
business
locations that fail. Not most people who become McDonald's franchises are very, very successful.
That's not true. 2019, they shut down, I think, 106 locations.
Yeah, but that's how 6,000.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm just saying in general, people are going to obviously have challenges in business. Obviously we don't want our franchisees to fail, and we don't have a really high failure rate at all. It's practically close to zero. But the point is that in business, I'm making the statement that in business, you have to understand, you have to put the work in, and you have to follow the system in whatever business it is, or create the system if you're starting a new business to be successful.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. The one of the mantras we have in our organization, we call fail fast, fail cheap, which means we do a whole bunch of small experiments. And if they work, great. If they don't work, then we just leave them, go on to the next thing. The thing that's got me concerned when I'm hearing what you're saying is that you're telling people it's really, really hard because you're going to fall on your face all the time. Well, it's really, really hard if I put hours and hours and hours and hours into a project, and then I take a year or 2 or 3 to give up on it because I put so much time into it. But if I spend 2 weeks or 3 weeks on something and it doesn't work out, it's pretty easy for me to say, well, that didn't work. Let's go on to the next thing.
Yep, I hear what you're saying. Look, what I'm saying is, like I said, you're going to have to expect the unexpected. You're not going to have failure every day in your business, but you will have failure, and it is very difficult. And you're asking me what I've done from $15,000. It was very painful because I had no money, and you can't grow without money. So you have to bring in revenue to continue to keep growing. And that's why, from my experience, it's been very, very challenging. You come in and you have millions and millions of dollars and you're trying to build a business. It's a lot different, because if you make a mistake, you have more money. When you make a mistake and don't have any money, obviously that's the challenge, because each penny counts. And I made some really big mistakes early on in the days where $1,000 was like $1 million to me because I had nothing. So that's what I'm explaining.
That's true. So, at what point did you decide franchising made sense for you?
That was honestly the vision from day one when I started this in my parents' dining room in 2008. So 2008 is when I started, and that was always the vision, right? I like franchising. I've always loved the model, and I love the model because it allows you to surround yourself with other great people, right? And it's all about who you surround yourself with, and when you could bring other very intelligent, smart people into a business that other have could have other great ideas, because that's how you grow. That was very attractive to me, and that's what I really liked about the franchise model.
And when did you actually start franchising your business?
In 2014.
So it was 6 years into your business.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So you said for the first 10 years you basically had no money. Was that because you were reinvesting all of it into what you were doing?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, because this is something I think that a lot of our listeners might be interested in, is they might want to franchise their business. How much money do you think it would cost for somebody to start a franchise today?
To start a franchise, or to actually franchise the business?
Well, actually, to start franchising the business.
Yeah.
Your business is running. You have a couple of units that are successful. You say, this is a great idea. I want to franchise it. How much is it going to cost me to build a franchise or get the legal work done for a franchise before you can start selling it?
Roughly anywhere from like 80 to about maybe $120,000, depending on how in depth you go.
Okay. And before you franchise, I know that, one of the reasons I like franchises is I call a franchise a business in a box.
Yes.
When you buy a franchise, you basically get all the rules, all the things you need to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to figure it out. The franchisor supposedly has done that for you, and they have operating manuals that you use. And if you follow them, you'll likely be successful. How did you get all that done as a startup? Because that's like a ton of work. Just a ton.
It's definitely a ton of work. You got to surround yourself with great people, right? I've always, I think it's really a very stupid thing to say when you say I like to focus on my weaknesses, right? You need to focus on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. And obviously, every person can always grow and get better. But something that I've always done is I've always just surround myself with smarter people who can do things in certain areas better than I can, and I know where the lane I like to play in, and that's where I stay. But brought a lot of people on, created a lot of different operational manuals, a lot of systems that I've been very successful for me, integrated a lot of technology, built technology, and put things in place so, it can operate like a well-oiled machine.
So when you brought those other people in, I'm assuming you brought them in as you were building out your franchise.
That is correct, yes.
And so you hired people. I'm assuming you don't consider yourself a person who loves to build and document systems.
No, I'm the visionary, right? That's who I am. I'm the visionary, and I have an integrator, and I have obviously other people that are on my team that follow the directions.
You're also an EOS person. I always get to EOS people because they always have this language to use all the time. By the way, EOS is a form of management put together by now why am I calling a blank on his name? Gino Wickman. And it's really, 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 really good stuff. You want to build a great business, it's a great format to do it in. I highly recommend it.
Yep.
So we won't get a lot into EOS today. I actually had their president on for 3 episodes in a row a few years ago, which was kind of fun to do.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of stuff there. So you just brought up something really important, which I think, and I've asked this question to at least 1,000 people doing seminars over the years, which is, what's more important, to magnify your strengths or improve your weaknesses? And there's something that I've noticed over the years when I've asked this question. When I ask this question to business owners, they almost universally will say, improve my strengths. And if I ask the same question to employees, they almost universally say, improve my weaknesses. How do you get your employees to make that switch from improve my weaknesses to magnify my strengths?
Well, I think the first thing is never call them an employee. I think that word is absolutely degrading, and I never call anyone an employee. I don't even like to refer to myself as the founder and CEO. Um, and we could talk about that in a second. But how you need to have a great culture. That is number one. You need to have great values, and when you have that instilled in your business, and everyone has that passion and they're on board, there's very easy ways to do it. Very, very easy ways to do it. But that also requires systems. That also requires processes that you have to build. But that comes with leadership. And when you have good leadership, the rest will follow.
So, when you developed your values, how did you go about doing that? Because again, I think businesses that are great businesses always started out being values led.
Yes. So I always say one thing. I always say I never look at paper. Paper is great, and obviously you need certain talent, but I would always hire attitude over skill any day of the week. And I like to always say skill can always be taught, attitude can't. And that's why, again, culture, you need to make sure you have the right people on the place, right people on the bus and the right seats in place. But I live by this concept, fuel your drive. It's the name of my book. It's the name of my podcast. We say it here in our business every day. I have a gas tank that sits in the middle of our headquarters. Fuel is the 4 pillars of success: fun, unity, earnings, and leadership. And drive, which is our core values. You cannot obviously drive anywhere without fuel. And that's kind of how I created the concept. Drive, which are our values of our organization, is determination, respect, integrity, versatility, and excellence. And everyone has to fuel their drive every single day.
So, Josh, I have a question for you. Those are great values. Do you have a clarifying statement around each of them?
Yes, I do.
Cool. Why did you do that? Why did you put a clarifying statement around your values?
Because everyone has to embody those values or it's not going to work. It's very simple.
Right.
Each and every person in our...
Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, my experience with that, and you're right on the money. If you don't put a clarifying statement around a value, other people don't know what you're talking about.
That is correct.
If I say the word integrity, your 10 words for integrity will likely be different than my 10 words about integrity.
That is correct.
So that's why you need that clarifying statement. I have to tell you that, I've been teaching people how to create economically and personally sustainable businesses for a long time. And you have hit on all the things you need to do except one. And the one is recurring revenue. So your business is one of those businesses that could be built very nicely on a recurring revenue basis, because I'm assuming that your trainers go back to see the same people over and over and over again.
So that is the biggest component of our business, recurring revenue. And that's why our business model is so attractive, because clients are training 2 to 6 days a week, and it's consistent cash flow coming in. And service-based businesses are also great businesses that you can get into, which not having a large investment going into a brick and mortar location. But the only difference between service-based businesses and our business is that reoccurring revenue, right? Because some of these like junk companies or lawn care companies, they're seasonal. You might not get that repeat customer for a year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever it may be. We have consistent cash flow coming in, and that's very, very important. And that reoccurring model is what really provides pure scalability.
Yeah, it's also what makes your business attractive for others to have at some point.
That is correct, yes.
So with your franchise, can I ask you how many units you have?
Yes, we have over 250 locations. We service in the U.S. alone a little over 700 cities, and we're in 25 states right now.
Wow. So somebody that has a franchise, they would have sounds like they have a pretty wide geographic area.
Yeah, so it's based upon approved households. So everything's based on demo and psychographic information, and 10,000 approved households would be one location.
And do the people who franchise from you, do they go out and hire trainers to work for them?
They do, yes.
They do. Cool. Yep. So that sounds like a pretty interesting thing. So what is your plans, say, in the next 2 years? I don't ask 5 years anymore, because nobody knows what's going to be happening 5 years from now.
Honestly, continue, supporting our franchise family members, continue driving their profitability, bringing in more revenue streams for them. Obviously, continue growing. We're going to be entering into a couple new countries, which is super exciting, and just keep getting better, right? You got to pivot. You got to evolve. If you don't, it's very simple. Starts with 3 letters. You're going to die. If you do not evolve, you will die. If you don't like
that's pretty much
change,
true.
you will die. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You have to constantly be changing. We live in an ever-changing environment, and you have to be on the ball with that. And, that is very, very important.
Cool. So when you say, one of the things that you said I found pretty interesting, I just want to find it here for a second. You talked, and we're going to end here on emotional intelligence. So, first of all, how is emotional intelligence important for you? And how is it important for the people who you work with?
Yeah, that is probably the most important component of business. Honestly, just in life, right? If you're unable to build relationships, you're going to have lots of problems in life. Building relationships is everything. It's the number one most important thing. Okay, because if I have to go to the doctor and you have to go to the doctor and the doctor's booked all day, but I'm friendly with the doctor, who's getting into the doctor that day? Me. Relationships. EQ is very important. It's the definition of emotional intelligence is understanding people, understanding what they like, what makes them tick. And it's about the detail of it, right? Like, understand, like I know every single one of my team members' children. I know their names, how old they are, what sports they like. I know everything, and I care, and I actually want to know everything. But you have to be able to, build and feed off that EQ, because that emotional intelligence is a very, very important component to success. Because if you want to have high retention, and we have a very, very high retention, it's almost perfect. You have to have great, not IQ, EQ.
Yeah, there was a book that came out, I don't know, probably 35 years ago, called How to Win While Swimming with the Sharks by a guy named Harvey McKay.
Yep.
And in there, he had this thing called the McKay 66. If you just Google the McKay 66, you'll find it. But it was the 66 things he wanted his salespeople to know about all their prospects and their customers. And his reasoning behind that was, if you know these things, I will promise you our competitors don't. And as a result, you're going to have the inside track. No one's going to get you out of where you are. And if we're not servicing that customer, we're in second place. And when they stumble, and everybody stumbles, we'll move in the first place.
Love it.
Which I thought was just great. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. I think it's still in print, actually.
I'm going to check it out. I just check it out.
Yeah. So, Josh, I'm afraid that we have run out of time. And I'm going to bet that some people listening might say, hey, this sounds like a good franchise opportunity. How do they find you?
You could simply just visit gymguyz.com and click on franchising and fill out some information, and a Gymguyz representative will get back to you.
Sounds good. And I have 2 things that I kind of would like you to do. The first one is really pretty easy. I would like you to go to wherever you're listening to this podcast, and please give us an honest rating and review. You love us, tell you love us. If you hate us, I hope you don't, but if you do, you can say that too. And the second thing is I developed this thing, which I kind of started off as a joke, but it's actually turned out into a pretty useful tool. And we call it the periodic table of business elements. And very simply, the periodic table is 53 things that I came up with over the years of strategies and tactics that you as a private business owner can use to help make your business more economically and personally sustainable. It's really easy to get. You just go to www.stage2planning.com/periodic. That's www.stage2planning.com/periodic. And this is Josh Patrick with Josh York. You're at Cracking the Cash Flow Code. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.